So, tell me something terrible.
What's up? What you doing over there? Just watch out for your ankle. You've switched out chairs.
I rocked this chair last week.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. After that other chair bit me.
Oh, no. How's your ankle?
Scarred for life.
Is it going to match your dragon skin?
Oh, I can move my leg up, but my hip would pop out of socket.
You'll be fine.
I'm 734 years old.
Okay.
Our house is so crooked, I feel like I'm rolling downhill.
Yeah.
Do I look crooked?
A little bit.
Good.
We need to just jack up the floors. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Or it'll just collapse on top of us.
Are you still on the first one of these?
Nope, that's number 2, bro.
Okay.
I opened that when we started chasing the shots.
My ears hurt.
Is it all that vodka?
It could be because I wore wireless earbuds for like 7 hours of work today.
Who are you trying to ignore at work?
There's nobody there on Mondays. It's just me.
Oh, so awkward silence is what you're trying to ignore?
I was watching Josh Gates, Expedition Unknown.
Of course you were.
For 7 hours today at work. I got through like all of season 2.
And how much work did you actually get done?
All of it.
I'm proud of you.
Except for the occult bloods.
Don't touch his phone. It's covered with some weird-ass bacteria you don't know
I don't
of.
touch my phone. I'm not like touching my phone while I'm at work.
I'd hope not. Y'all got the anthrax thing in the other day.
It was, no. That was a state specimen that's supposed to mimic anthrax. I feel like my voice is off.
Do we need to pause for some warm-ups?
Warm-ups?
Yep.
No.
Okay. Just want to jump in then?
Ow now, brown cow.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are. Look at you.
Proud of you.
On a Tuesday or March of 2022, whatever day you're on.
Either way, you're looking amazing and everyone loves you and we're proud of you.
They might not be looking amazing. They might have just woke up. Sweatpants, hair's all askew.
Ugh, why would you start your morning with
breath.
us? All right, you ready to get started?
Although I guess morning breath doesn't affect your look. It's just, anyway. Yeah.
I mean, it might. You get like fuzzy teeth and shit.
Am I ready to get started?
Yeah.
It's solidly 20 minutes past my bedtime. I've been ready.
Okay.
And I did leg day, so my left butt cheek's crampy. So
You'll be fine.
maybe. You said this is a shorty. So
Yes.
After last week's longy.
Very longy.
That was episode 30, though.
Dirty 30. So, again, like you mentioned, after the long and sort of like emotionally exhausting episode of last week, I decided to fall back onto my usual pattern.
Murder?
No. Lighthearted and then heavy.
Okay.
So we did heavy, now we're doing lighthearted.
So this is going to be like the old switcheroo.
Yeah. So this episode, no one dies.
I'll be the judge of that.
No one dies.
Okay.
Okay. So this episode, I'm going to tell you about the mysterious Odin fires that took place in a farmhouse located 4 miles outside of the town of Odin, Indiana. Sitting 100 yards off the road, nestled among some pine trees. This house was built by the Ketchum family, and they were from Tennessee, just after the Civil War.
Okay, that was a lot of information to unpack.
Yep, I had a lot of information.
Indiana.
Is
this our first Indiana crime?
Maybe. No, I think, didn't the tri-state tornado tear through Indiana?
That was Illinois. Chicago?
Yes, it was.
I don't know. It could have been Indiana,
No,
too.
it did stop shy of Chicago.
Either way, we're going to call this our first Indiana episode.
Yep. So it's an old-ass house.
Hoosier State.
The Hoosiers.
Have you ever seen Hoosiers?
No.
I am not shocked by that at all. Do you know what Hoosiers is?
A hockey team.
Oh my. No. It's like one of the most famous basketball movies. It's not like
basketball. Okay.
It's not like I won't make you watch it because I don't want to watch it again, but it is famous.
Okay. Have you seen Escanaba and the Moonlight?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Like 25 years ago or whenever that movie came out.
It wasn't 25 years ago, was it?
I bet you it was at least 25 years ago. You keep reading. I'm going to Google.
That quote is totally applicable because my Chevy shook a shit. I'm waiting for my Chevy to shake a shit.
I don't even know how to spell Escanaba.
I'll autocorrect you at some point.
In the Moonlight.
In the Moonlight.
Escanaba in the Moonlight is 20 years old.
No, it's not.
2001.
I watched that in high school.
Yeah, you did. How old do you feel?
really old.
20 years old.
No,
That movie can almost drink.
that's not okay.
Anyway.
So the Odin fires actually took place today, on the day that we're recording, not releasing, 80 years ago.
June 21st?
Yes.
If you're listening to this on Tuesday, that's right. We record the day before.
Yeah, what
we
of
like
it?
to live dangerously.
Yeah, we do.
/ busily.
Yep.
Busily?
Busily.
Is
It's a
busily?
word now.
Is busily?
It's
There's no way that's a real
It
word.
is now. So on June 21st, 1941, just after 8 a.m., William Hackler headed out to his barn. He was called back inside because someone could smell smoke. The family, William Hackler, his wife, Minnie, and their 5 children fanned throughout the house.
She's a little mini hackler. Sorry.
So they were trying to find the source of the fire, or the smoke. So eventually...
Naturally, that's fire. Yep.
I mean, yeah.
That's literally the expression. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
And there's also the expression smoking gun.
Because someone fired it.
But it didn't create flame. I mean, I guess technically it does, like inside the barrel.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
does.
It's a tiny little flame.
Yeah.
So William's oldest...
You're proving my point. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Well, at some point I'm just...
Gonna
I've
concede?
learned,
Just
yeah,
take-
I've
take-
learned to
take
not
the
be
L here?
that much of a raging feminist that argues all the time, and just learn to
I think that's what
concede
the
to some
kids say.
things.
I think that's what the kids say. Take an L here.
Yeah, well, you think the kids say perf, so...
Perf, as the kids say.
I was so mad when that fucking receptionist...
Said perf?
Yes!
Because kids say that.
She was like 19 years old, and she said perf, and I sided her so hard. I was like, did you ever hear me say that? She's like, no. I'm like, I hate you so much right now, and you don't even know why.
Does it make you feel better that Eskinhub into Moonlight's older than she is?
No, it doesn't make me feel better at all.
Good.
So anyway, William's oldest daughter, Dorothy, found a single strip of wallpaper burning below a windowsill in an unoccupied second-story bedroom.
Okay, so put it out, Dorothy.
They had to call the family quickly called the fire department.
Because one sheet of wallpaper was on fire?
This is the 1940s. Everything, you fucking looked at something wrong and it would burn the whole house down. Like, shit was cray back then. It was an old ass farmhouse. Could you imagine if we...
Yeah, if
I know a lot of our
wallpaper
first floor
was on, I would just
okay,
put it out.
When we first bought this house, it was like a big strip of wallpaper that was on fire. First off, when we first bought this house, there was a lot of plaster in it. Could you imagine 160 years ago when it was first built and all the driest timber? We literally have tree trunks holding up our foundation.
I know, but I'm just saying, you got to at least try. Anyway,
they called
maybe they tried. I'm going to tell myself the Hacklers tried.
Okay. So they called the fire department to help put out the fire.
Put out the single piece of wallpaper that was on fire.
Well, because they couldn't figure out what was causing the fire.
Okay.
Because there's no electricity in these houses.
Is this where like witchcraft is going to come in or something?
We don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like you're holding back.
No.
I'm stealing more of your
They
cheese.
literally have no clue why.
You push this cheese plate to the center of the table, so I'm going to assume it's communal at this point.
No. Back the fuck off my cheese. Stop it. So the prevailing theory was that there was an unknown chimney behind the wallpaper that had sparked the flames. But it's the end of June in Indiana, so no one was...
Why was there a chimney? A fire.
Because that's how you used to heat your house in the 40s.
In June in Indiana?
Exactly. That's my point. No one was lighting fires. They have no clue what caused this. Okay. So they literally tore off the wallpaper and busted through the wall to try to find this rogue chimney fire. There's nothing there. They could find no source of the fire. So
my guess, Minnie secretly smoked cigarettes and she flicked one off when her husband was coming in, and that's what caused all this fire.
In an unoccupied bedroom?
Yeah, that's her smoking room. She smokes by the window and tries to waft it all out.
All right. Well, explain the rest of this. So the fire department
Maybe I will.
Yeah. So the fire department tore through the wall, like I said, and found nothing that could have sparked the fire. They actually...
I would just be so pissed if they tore my wall apart for no good reason.
Yeah. And so, well, they thought there could have been something inside of it. Mm-hmm. So after dousing out the flames, the firefighters left the house. Before they could even make it back to the firehouse, though, they were summoned again by the Hackler family. And a second fire had started, and this time it was inside a mattress in a different bedroom.
Yeah. Because Minnie was so stressed out by the first fire, she had to have another cigarette in a different room because the first one would have been suspicious. And it was wet and torn apart. So she's in there smoking, and here comes Mr. Hackler again. And she's like, oh, shit, and tucks it under her mattress. Flames.
You think?
And so far, so good.
So after the second fire was extinguished, extinguished. So this,
are you speaking Spanglish?
Yes.
Was it extinguished?
Yes, this extinguished fire. It was glorious. Had a little bow tie and some... Because it's... Never mind.
No, I was looking at you. I was waiting for the punchline.
Because it's extinguished. Like, extravagant. It's fine. We're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Got it?
Yeah.
The English language is confusing. Distinguish was the word I was looking for.
Yeah. No, I was trying to make like all the leaps in your head. I was trying to keep up.
Guys, I think I might have undiagnosed ADHD. It's starting to become a real problem.
Luckily, you keep writing 4 pages a week of papers, or 2 4-page papers a week, so I don't see where it could be a problem.
No, not a problem at all.
All right.
So
let's extinguish this and move on.
So there were more fires that started popping up in random places in the house. William Hackler's overalls that were hanging on the back of a bedroom door. A firefighter spotted a book on a shelf that had started to smoke, and when he opened it, the pages were smoldering inside. Neighbors came over to see...
What a funny place to put out a cigarette, Minnie. Oh, shit, they're coming. Put it in a book. Boom.
What about the overalls?
Same thing. She's just doing laundry, smoking a cigarette. Oh, shit. Psst. Cigarette burn. Denim.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have not found a flaw in my theory yet.
So the neighbors came over to see if they could help.
Where's Minnie at during all this? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Exactly. Keep reading. We might be solving this crime.
So neighbors came over to see if they could help, and while they were congregating inside the living room, a set of curtains caught fire, only burning up the fabric and nothing else. So like the wood around, the wallpaper, the walls, the shades that were drawn, nothing else caught fire, just the curtains.
Okay.
And once they were done burning, a set of curtains on the other side of the room burst into flames.
Okay.
No Minnie, this is just the neighbors.
You don't think Minnie was in there? You think the neighbors...
There was no mention of Minnie being in the room.
You think the neighbors are just in the living room all by themselves?
Back in the 40s, people had nothing better to do and were friendly with their neighbors. Just because our neighbors are creepy doesn't mean anybody else doesn't like their neighbors.
There's no way she wasn't hosting her neighbors. There was probably Tupperware being passed around with casseroles.
I mean, it is the Midwest.
And a cigarette hanging out of Minnie's mouth. She's just flicking her shit around
Ashes
all willy-nilly.
everywhere.
Yeah. Minnie did it. Hashtag Minnie did it.
So once they were done burning, like I said, the other curtains caught on fire. And as the little fires kept popping up, the Oron Fire Department called in the help
I thought it was Odin.
Odin? It is Odin.
You said Oron.
I said that so wrong. Guys, he fed me shots and I was chasing them with White Claw, which is a bad idea.
And we had mushrooms for dinner is all. Not like psychedelic.
Or the ones that kill you.
Yeah. No. Just straight up like oysters and shiitake.
Oyster mushrooms, not actual oysters. We're not that bougie.
No. I mean, we had a pretty solid dinner tonight.
It was delicious.
Anyway, enough about that.
I've come a long way since boxed mac and cheese.
Tell me Oron's fire department.
Odin's fire department called in the help of a fire brigade from a bucket brigade from a nearby. We like those bucket brigades. So in a total, 100 firefighters were there helping to douse the flames and be witnesses to this bizarre scenario, including several neighbors. Another fire along a wall on the opposite side of the house where the original fire had started had popped up.
Is this just crazy electrical fires then? Like, is their house arcing and all that stuff where you hear about?
You didn't hear what I just said earlier?
I was so convinced it was Minnie. I zoned out on it.
They have no electricity inside of this house.
It's 1940. How do they not have
Doesn't
electricity?
matter because they're in the middle of some Hosier small ass town in the Midwest who's behind on everything.
What kind of small ass town?
Hosier? A podunk. Small ass town.
As far as I knew, that was just a singer.
In the middle.
I know what it meant.
Of the middle.
Okay.
Of Detroit.
Indiana.
Detroit would definitely have electricity.
We're so good at geography, guys.
Yeah.
And
Detroit's
she gave
in
me
our
shit
state.
for not knowing where the Hoover Dam was.
Okay.
Anyway, no, keep going.
But there's no electricity at that time. There's not even overhead power lines at this point. Like they are a farm in the middle of outside of a town, off the grid, in the middle of the woods. Like there's no power.
Okay.
So the firefighters came in and did the same thing that they did previously. They'd pulled off all the plaster. They'd pull off the laths that supported the plaster off of the wall, searching for a source. They found nothing. In another room, the paper divider between the box springs and a mattress burst into flame, and that destroyed the entire bed, all while more neighbors were just standing there watching as my mic continues to slide downward because I adjusted it a half an inch.
Yep. It did not want any part of that.
Everything we own is rubbish.
It is. If I had a screwdriver, we could fix it. But I like the
This
antics.
requires an Allen wrench, I feel like.
That is 100% a Phillips head screwdriver.
Shut up.
It's just a screw, homie.
I was looking on the other side.
On the bolt side?
Yeah, it confused
That's
my
still
brain.
not an Allen wrench.
Fuck off. No one likes you.
She's so good with tools, guys.
Hey, I can sand stuff, and that's all that really matters.
Mm-hmm.
So it was...
like sand through the hourglass. Did
so
your mom
the
watch
neighbors...
Days of Our Lives? Mine too. That's the only thing our moms
The
have in
difference
common.
is that my mom screamed at us to shut the fuck up before she could watch her. I'm watching my shows. Get out of my face. All right. I'm in the kitchen, but okay. So the neighbors watched all of this stuff start to like pop up in flames randomly with no source.
Spontaneously
in complete
combust.
shock. Yes. So it was said that it was described, quote, as if an invisible hand were lighting matches throughout the house.
Minnie.
Or as, yeah, she's actually a pyro. It's not cigarettes. She's just walking around with a matchbook, just setting shit aflame.
It's probably their child. Do they have a child?
They have five children.
Oh, it's definitely the oldest.
Yes.
Middle?
Dorothy, the oldest, was the one that found the first fire.
Ooh, might be the youngest. Seeking attention.
Yeah. So a more cynical neighbor had said, quote, the devil is in that house.
Okay. Dramatic.
It's the 40s. What do you want?
Okay, Karen.
So between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., 9 fires had been extinguished.
Not exactly the devil's hours.
No.
Devil doesn't do brunch.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nah, he's more like he's a late night. He's an insomniac.
He's
3 a.m. is his hour.
more Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That's what they call that. The devil's curse. Anyway. Not Montezuma. Is it Montezuma? Anyway.
Is it? I don't know.
We're so good at history.
We are.
We should start a history podcast.
Yeah, we should. So by 11 p.m. that night, the last fire was doused with a total of 28 little fires burning inside the Hackler's home.
It's a lot of little fires.
Yeah, just random shit lighting on fire all over the place.
Just
Between 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Just let the house go at that
Yeah.
point. It doesn't have power. It's not worth that much.
So there wound up being no structural damage, despite all the tiny bits of like things that it was. The only thing that burned was like the little bits that caught on fire. Like it was just the curtains and not the windowsill. It was just some wallpaper and not the whole wall.
Things, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were lit by cigarettes.
So, yeah, okay, but you don't know. I've told you about the pyro guy in like California or whatever who started a little pillow fire ignition. He was the arson guy. Like he was.
Do we do that as an episode?
No, this is just shit that I've told you on the side from other podcasts.
Yeah.
Where it was
I
the guy
remember.
who was the head of the like arson detective force or whatever. There's probably a way better name.
That was a Wine and Crime.
Yes, Anna, My Favorite Murder, and I'm pretty sure I've heard it on Morbid. I've heard it on a bunch of them. But he lit his little starter pack. Started with fire cigarettes because it would give them time to get down to the butt before it would ignite. So
always give it time to get to the butt.
# shameless plugging.
Wow. All right, can you finish your story?
So anyway, the house still stood after all those tiny little fires with no structural damage at all.
Edit all this out.
It's an estimate. Too bad. It was estimated just several $100s of damages was done, which is just mostly material items. That night, the Hacklers pulled what remaining beds they had available out onto the lawn and slept outside for the fear that another fire may start, and this time it would go unnoticed.
It's like camping.
Yeah, except without tents, just on mattresses.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's June.
It's just June bugs.
Do they have June bugs in Indiana?
Yeah, it's not like I'd imagine.
They're awful.
Indiana's not that far from here.
That is true.
We could get to Indiana before midnight, probably.
Ooh. No. maybe the border by midnight. So no other fire has started in the house, but there was a constant stream of curious townspeople coming to the house, offering up their theories as to what started these unexplained fires. Electrical issues, like I'd said, were off the table because they lived in a very podunk Midwest town, and it was the beginning of the 1900s, so there was no electricity. The Hacklers, there wasn't even like power, like overhead power lines. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely not from that. And again, not from the fire that heated the house because, it was June in the Midwest. Uh-huh. Other theories offered up include lightning rods that had somehow became charged, heating the nails in the house, causing the fires. But like there were curtains and books and clothes that were...
Static electricity?
That'd have to be some like...
It might be a fully carpeted house. I don't know. Wool?
If they didn't have electricity, there's no way in hell they had carpet.
They had box springs under their mattresses. You don't think they had carpet?
No, carpet's expensive.
Yeah, and most people just have mattresses at that point. They don't have box springs.
These bougie-ass farmers.
And then they had wool-ass curtains.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And asbestos hasn't been...
Just a breezy day, those wool-ass curtains.
Catch that cigarette?
Yeah, Minnie.
So it was also speculated that there was an unused well on the property that was releasing gas that ignited certain areas of the house. Obviously, people accused the children, like you did, of pulling pranks, but there were no witnesses to the fires.
There wasn't a bunch of like unlit or lit little matchsticks everywhere.
Yeah, and like there were people that were watching the fires. They would have noticed if children were running around like heathens and lighting shit on fire, right? So, like I said, there were family like witnesses and stuff like that had just watched shit burst into flame. And the family swears that no one was involved. Some people said that the house was haunted, most likely by the previous family, the Ketchums, that had lived there.
Well, if it is, I hope they catch them. You had to know that was coming, right?
It was bad. How long were we sitting on that?
Since you said their name in the first paragraph.
20 minutes?
Yeah, about that.
Okay. So 5 members of the Ketchum family had died from what was then known as the burning fever, which was most likely typhus.
Seems poorly named.
Yes. They died 50 years earlier. And then they were also concerned that they could have been haunted.
The house literally had a fever. And the Ketchums all caught it. And now the house was kept. Anyway. It's bad.
And you make fun of my line of logic.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the house just runs hot. It's fine. In June.
So, also, there was a theory that it could have also been haunted by the most previous owner prior to them, whose name was Andrew Wilkie. He had a son that had died in a hunting accident, and the father was like a spiritualist. And it was said that he asked for his son to try to contact his dad, so they think that like his spirit could have still been residing there. And they actually wound up, when his son had died, they had buried him in a casket that had one of those little windows in it, on the property, just a few hundred yards from the house. But the mother later on moved the casket to an actual cemetery, so it wasn't just creeping in the yard
Staring
somewhere.
Back at them.
Yes. And then
I wonder why those went out of vogue.
I mean, we could get into it if you really wanted to.
Not really.
I mean, later.
Sure.
Okay.
Never.
So some people just think that the house was cursed.
Can I get some LEDs in my car? Just kidding.
Yes. We'll make sure it has like, it's going to play some EDM from it, like at your funeral. And what's the hymn that you want played?
I don't know. How long until people start getting buried with their cell phones? Like that's going to happen soon, right?
God, I would hope not. Could you fucking imagine? Like texting someone on their birthday, like, and then getting a text back from like their phone number because it had been changed to somebody, and then just the heart attack that would happen. Like, oh God.
Yeah.
It's the new kind of like the bell when they had on the Victorian aged coffins to make sure people weren't vampires or buried alive, whatever you believe.
More importantly.
Yeah. So some people thought that it was just a cursed house or that there was a demonic poltergeist, although there was no issues or disturbances prior to the house fires.
I feel like this is going to be unsolved at the end of this.
You think? What gave you that idea?
You like to do that to me?
Sometimes. So one man suggested that the Hackler farm was sitting at the center of a powerful magnetic field that triggered the fires.
Magnets make fire?
Magnetic fields might make fire. There are actually is a theory behind 2 other fires, which I might do some research on later. Recent fires, 04 and 14.
Okay.
So,
those houses had power.
Probably.
Probably?
I mean, did you hear about the crazy people that lived outside of Brooklyn? With the kid with, like, all of them were homeschooled, none of them were vaccinated. Half of the kids didn't even have birth certificates because they just popped out the babies and they were crazy people.
Okay.
And now it's an oil field.
They didn't have power?
No, they were fucking nuts.
That doesn't make them nuts. It just makes them old-timey.
They were crazy.
Let's not judge them.
You haven't read the articles. So no matter what the theory is, the Indiana. Indianian.
What do they call people from Indiana? Just Hoosiers, right?
I think so.
They don't call them Indians, do they?
I hope not.
Okay.
I don't know. We're Michiganders, in case you care.
Which is like the goofiest of names.
Well, we're goofy. So, no matter what the theory is,
you call someone from Indiana a Hoosier. That's just what they are.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, figure that out. So no matter what the theory is, the Indiana State Fire Marshal concluded that the fires were, quote, the most baffling mystery he had ever seen. He declared the case closed and it has never been solved. Either way, by July, the Hacklers had dismantled the house board by board with the help of neighbors and reconstructed it 1 mile down the road.
Can I tell you something I found in this wormhole?
Yes.
Do you know what you call someone from Connecticut?
No.
You either call them a Connecticutter, which isn't great.
That's bad.
Or a nutmegger.
Stop.
I don't know which one's more widely accepted, but those are pretty fun.
Say them again.
Either a Connecticutter.
Okay.
Or a nutmegger.
I'm going to go with nutmegger.
Okay. Just thought you should know.
Connecticutter's a little.
Do you know what you call someone from Massachusetts?
No.
A Bay Stater.
A Bay Stater?
Yeah, every other one is pretty makes sense.
It's because they're in the Bay.
Those ones don't.
They're in the Bay.
A Utah person is a Utahn, which can either be spelled with 2 A's or 1 A.
Oh.
Anyway, back to your story. I will put my phone down now.
And we, in case you care, are not just Michiganders, but we have Yoopers and trolls.
Yeah. Anyway, finish your story.
So,
I got distracted.
Clearly. Either way, by July...
Bunch of nutmeggers up in here. Do we have anyone that listens from Connecticut?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't either. I haven't ever checked.
So either way, by July, the Hacklers had disassembled the house board by board with the help of neighbors and reconstructed it 1 mile down the road.
That's a very weird thing to do.
Yeah. Well, if the land was haunted, move your shit. There wasn't a fire since until 1964. There was a minor flue fire that caused no damage. And the Hackler family was still, William Hackler and his second wife were still living there.
Oh.
I know.
Where'd Minnie go?
I don't know. He probably kicked her out of the house for all that smoking habit.
Probably. Sent her to the crazy house.
Yes.
We found out that's a thing in the 40s.
Yes. So as of today, the house is no longer standing, so we'll never know what actually caused all of the chaos that day.
What about the OG property, though?
I mean, I would imagine there still has to be a foundation
Road
there, right?
trip.
Through Indiana? No, Indiana's awful. Couldn't be that far. It's either 1.5 hours or it's 8 hours. Indiana is so long and awful to drive through.
I'm guessing Odin, Indiana is pretty small. I've never heard of it.
Nope. Odon, I think.
Odon?
Sure.
Odon?
Yep, Odon.
It is Odon.
It's Odin. We're in the Midwest.
It is Podunky.
Yeah, is there one building?
The only thing I see is a storage unit.
There's no Dollar Generals?
I'm sure there is, but it's 5 hours from here.
Oh. So it's like the middle of
The only thing
Indiana.
that pops up on Google Maps is Odon Locker Inc. That's literally the only thing. There's nothing else.
Zoom in closer. Did you find that Dollar General?
There's a vet, a lumber yard, a feed and grain.
Of course there is.
There's a Ketchum Memorial Center.
Shut the fuck up.
And Dita's hairstyling.
Well, that sounds exactly like Napoleon, so we can't dog on them too bad.
The Ketchum Memorial Center is a nonprofit organization.
Oh, good for them. Find out what they're good for before It
looks like an old fogey home. It would be tragic if you had an old fogey home named a memorial center.
Anyway, guys, we're not even dead yet.
Anyway, I'm going to stop Googling things during the podcast. Okay. But it's 5.5 hours from here, so we're not gonna go there tonight. Sorry.
No, not tonight. Maybe tomorrow.
I got work tomorrow.
So that was it. Nice and short. Anticlimactic.
No answers.
No answers.
I think I already solved it.
You think so?
Comment somewhere if you think Minnie did it. I think she's a chain smoker and was hiding it from Willie. That's why he divorced her ass and moved his house.
Yeah. So the sources for this
was it only in your
deep
state?
Dive. Yes.
Was it?
Onlyinyourstate.com. That's where I found it. And then I actually found a very well-written and well-researched.
They're actually a sponsor of the pod. Just kidding.
So that's where I found it.
Originally.
Yes, originally. And then I found a very well-written and well-researched article that quoted like books and articles and all of that stuff. Like he actually gave a shit.
Witchcraft and wizardry.
No. Medium.com. So close enough. And that article was called 28 Fires of Odin by Dale M. Brumfield.
If you're a medium, I'm a large. No?
Yeah, you are.
That's a shirt joke.
It was bad.
Thank you.
Just like this whole episode.
Thank you. No, the jokes were plenty. I wasn't upset about this one at all.
No, it wasn't too bad. Last week was heavy.
You said it was going to get heavy. I thought like a kid was going to die or something.
No, no one dies.
Just a house burned.
Yeah, Friday there'll be a murder.
Wow.
I was trying to
you're
ease
going to
us
talk
into the
about
next
one
week.
or are you planning one?
Both.
Okay.
He's already told me how much insulin it'll take to kill him, so... Whoa. He has a life insurance policy.
Going to hide those pens. Anyway, you made it this far. Congratulations.
Thanks.
This is half as far as last episode.
It is. Oh, it's not half. It's like a third.
Also, my plan is to write the bonus episode this week so that we can record it the same night as we record Friday's episode.
Okay.
Potentially.
Okay.
So, bonus episode on Patreon maybe this Sunday?
Recorded on Thursday.
Thursday.
Jesus Christ, tomorrow's Tuesday.
It is. So that would be the 27th. That'll really be squeaking in the June bonus podcast.
Yeah, it will be.
Hey, but they got early access to the YouTube video, which if you haven't watched yet, the Eloise YouTube video is up. Skipped up minute like 36 if you want to see the fun part.
36?
Give or take. I don't know when it is.
More like 40.
No, the whole thing's 42 minutes long, which is longer than we intended, but we didn't know what to cut out, so you get all of it. Skip forward as you want.
Yep.
But anyway, thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Find us on social media.
Yep.
Yeah. And we'll be back Friday.
Yep.
This is episode 31.
Yep.
Sweet.
Sweet.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.
Oof, that was terrible.